Hi everyone. So in this video we'll build the same project that we built in the last video, but this time we'll use LangChain. So if you want to get to know the details about the project, what exactly we are building, I urge you to look at the previous video. This video will jump directly to the implementation. We are basically building, given like multiple reviews, we want a system to give like an report or insight report where we can improve on the product. So that is the project. We'll first import all the required libraries or required modules, we can say. So we'll use OpenAI itself through LangChain. So that's why we import this. Prompt template is something which is used to create templates for prompts. We'll see how exactly this is used. The string output parser, if you remember, this is just to get the the actual content, the response of the LLM from AI message in LangChain, and load.env is just to get the .env file to export our OpenAI API keys. We are setting the model as 4o mini, and we are using this LangChain's class now to get the model, and also we are initializing an output parser. Now once we have the model initialized, it's very simple. We just define the prompt. This is basically the exact same prompt that we had from the previous video. Now once we have defined the prompt, we can invoke it. In LangChain, the way we pass this prompt is we initialize a prompt template and we send template equals the review compression prompt that we have. So this exact same prompt, we send it here. Now this is the template that we will use, and this template has a placeholder. So when we invoke this, so let's say this prompt template, when we invoke this, we give a dict of placeholder values that we have in the prompt. So we can have multiple placeholders, but one of them is input review, and this is the only placeholder for now in this prompt. So we send this value here, and this value is the actual review. And if you remember, this is the exact same review as well that we have picked from the last video. Now when we pass this through the prompt template and we invoke, it will not do anything, but it will give us a prompt, a final prompt that we can send it through LLM. So it prints like we can see there's a attribute called text here. So let's just print the text rather than the object itself. Yeah, so now that we get the final prompt that we can send. So if you remember, yeah, like I've added this line as well, which we realized we should add from the last video. And then it's very simple. Once we have the prompt, we can send it through the model, or basically in the LangChain terms, we invoke the model with the input prompt that we have. So this prompt we have gotten from the prompt template while invoking prompt template, and we'll invoke model now by giving the prompt. So you can see it's forming a chain here, kind of like first we invoke prompt template, then we invoke model. Prompt template is invoked with the input values to get the final prompt. Model is invoked with the final prompt to get the response from the LLM. And then we send this result through parser. This parser, if you remember, it just takes out the actual content from the AI message, and this parser is just the string output parser that we have. So it will just give you the string response that we get. So yeah, so we get like this JSON where we get sentiment as positive, and then themes, if you remember, it's more or less the same output that we are getting from the as compared to the previous video as well. Now this is all fine. Like I think you can also build the rest of the part now that you get the idea. Like basically the prompt is the same, so we can just do this. But I want to take a moment here and discuss like one extra thing that we can do just because we are using LangChain here. So this output instructions that we give in prompt, how exactly our output format should be, we can basically use LangChain's help to generate these output instructions in a better way, sort of, or like a way where we define the data structure and the instructions are generated by LangChain. So let's discuss that. Let's learn that how to do that exactly. So first thing is we'll use this JSON output parser provided by LangChain, which will be useful for us to generate the output instructions. And what we will do is we'll basically create like these pydantic classes which defines our data structure, the format in which we want the output, and then we'll pass these classes through the JSON output parser to get the actual format instructions. I'll show you how it's done. So here let's just focus on these two classes that we have defined. So this one class, this is compressed review. This is the, let's say this is the output format that we want our responses in. So there are two fields in our output, sentiment and themes. Now themes is like a list, and we give a description here using the field class that we have in pydantic. The description is themes are expressed. We can just elaborate on the field that it's there. This is your definition, which will actually be used in prompt in the review. Let's say, like, you can make it elaborate or less elaborate, however you want, based on the performance. And then we have another field called sentiment. Now this is a type of sentiment, and this sentiment is in turn like a class here. But actually, if you see, like, it's just an enum. So this class is an enum where three values are possible: positive, neutral, and negative. And this sentiment is a type of this enum. So basically it will take like one of these values itself and nothing else. And we give a description here, gives sentiment value for the review, we can say, just so that it's better. So and if you see this compressed review, it inherits from base model, and this base model is a pydantic class. So basically we are making this a pydantic data structure where we define the structure that we want our output in. And then what will happen is once we run this classes, we can send it through the JSON output parser. This is the LangChain class that we'll use, and we'll send pydantic object here, which will link to the compressed review. So compressed review is our final format that we want our output in, and that's why we are initializing a parser here by sending in this class, so that we can so that LangChain can generate instructions on how to format in this particular way. We'll see how exactly, like, everything will become clear once we call the actual methods and we print the stuff. So we have just initialized this JSON output parser as well, and now what we can do is we define a prompt template now, and this will be a different prompt template. This will be like a different prompt altogether, where we are not defining instructions ourselves. So if you see, now the template is give sentiment and themes for a review, and that's the only instruction we will give. And we'll just give on a new line, we'll add this placeholder format instructions, where we want to put the actual format instructions that are there, like put like create a JSON, put sentiment, themes, and so on. So we are not putting those instructions ourselves, but LangChain will generate those instructions based on this parser that we have. And then we have a field for input review. And in this template, we are defining like this input review is one of the input variables. So in LangChain, we'll see ahead, like, everything gets chained. So it needs to know which are the input variables and which are the output variables in certain cases, so that they can plug these modules as chains. So here format instruction is not an input variable. This is what this means. And then partial variables is format instruction, where LangChain has added this format. LangChain will add these format instructions for us, where it will take this parser, this JSON parser that we have created, and we call this method get format instructions. Actually, we can initialize this prompt template, but we can also call this format instructions independently, And let's see how this works. So let's just print these format instructions and see how it looks. Yeah, so this is just the format instructions that LangChain has created for us based on these classes and this description that we have given. So let's just take a moment and see how it has generated the format instructions. So it's defining like give JSON instance that conforms to JSON schema below, and it has described like uh, for the schema properties, and then foo property, title is foo, and the description is a list of strings, type is array, items type string. So each item in that array is also a string, and then there is required of foo. So foo is a required like an entity in the JSON, like it cannot be skipped. So this will give output as a JSON which absolutely contains foo key because it is required, and then it's a list of strings. So this is just an example that they are giving, and they are saying like this is an example of a well-formed instance of the schema, and this is not a well-formed schema. So they are saying like they'll define the schema in this JSON like this, and they want an output like this and not like this. This is what this instruction means. And here they have given the actual output schema. It's a little difficult for me to read it like this. Let's just put it through a JSON formatter. You see, this is the JSON format that is printed in here. Like if you see properties, this is where the property. Let's come to these definitions later. Let's go through properties first. So there is this property. There are two properties here: sentiment and themes. Exactly how we want our class, how we have defined it in our class, and each of these has the description that are given. Gives sentiment value for the review and themes expressed in the review. Exactly what we have defined as description in the classes. And in sentiment, it's given like some dollar reference with the definition of sentiment. And here like sentiment, they are defining it as enum and positive, neutral, negative, and the title is sentiment and type is string. So basically our sentiment should be one of these three values with title as string. This is what LangChain has created just based on the classes that we have given. And if you see for themes also, it's giving like type as array. This is coming from here. Like when we define our compressed review class, it says theme as list, right? So this gets converted to array, and here we are referencing to sentiment. So maybe they convert this to like dollar reference that they have created like this, where we are inheriting, where we are where we are referencing to another class, and this class description is what they have given here. So this is how and of course they are putting like required fields as well, which is sentiment and themes. So these two properties they have described, and they are saying these are required fields. So this is how like we can define classes, we can define the structure using these pydantic models, and LangChain will give you the format instructions which you can send it in the prompt. So this is something useful, like we won't have to describe anything like this, but we just have to write the classes like this. So it's more like clean, neat way of doing. Right now maybe there are only two things that we have, so it's not very complicated. But if we have like a complex model with complex structure, maybe format instructions is more useful there. Once we have this format instructions, we can invoke the prompt now. So remember, the prompt is our prompt template here, where there is only one input variable now, and partial variable is follow instructions will be replaced by this instruction that we have, this instruction that you can see. Let's invoke this and print and see now. So if you see like this give sentiment theme for a review, this is coming from here, and on a new line the complete output instruction has been replaced here. This is the output instruction that we printed, and which has been injected in our prompt template to get the final prompt. And on the new line, so we have like format instructions, then new line, the actual input review that we have. So till here it's the format instruction, and on a new line we have our input review here. Now we can place these input reviews within triple backticks as well, like how we have discussed earlier. So let's just do that actually. Great. So I have just put triple backticks here. So around input review, format instructions remain the same. So this is the final prompt that we get here, and yeah, so we are getting the input review here. Actually, let's just add like a identifier for saying like this is the input review that we have, just like how we do for prompts. So input review, and then we give the actual input review. So it's all of this is like good practice. Even if you don't do all these things, maybe the prompt will work still, but it's better like to arrange the prompt in a very neat and tidy way, so that you know that these are the format instructions, these are the input that are coming from the user's end. Now that we have done all this, let's just invoke the prompt now. Yeah, we can send this formatted prompt here in invoking the model. Oh, I've just copy pasted the same line. So this is fine, like it's just the same line here. I think this gives you the chain feeling, right? So first we send the input to the prompt to get the formatted prompt. Then we send formatted prompt to get results. Then we send result to the parser to get the the final. This is compressed review. Now let's print the compressed review and see. So it's we are getting the structure here after passing in through all the components. So hope this is clear. Like these format instructions were created by LangChain while we just pass in the classes. We invoked this prompt template using input review, got the formatted prompt. Formatted prompt is basically this, and when we pass that through the model, we can get the compressed review like so. And this is also like similar output again for that same review. Positive, it has comfort, quality, value for money, fit. I think these were covered in the last run as well. All these runs, they have like different responses every time we run it. We had discussed this in while discussing OpenAI SDK, like how can we make it more deterministic and so on, using temperature and all. So that is another part, but yeah, this is like fine. Like every run we will get different results, slightly different results for the same input. So this is fine, but at a broad level we are still getting like similar results for the same review. And yeah, this we can complete the project now. Like I don't want to waste time further. Like it's just the second prompt now. We can loop through every review, get send every review here in a loop, and we get this structured response now. And then finally we send the whole structure to the second prompt to get the actionable insights. That is fine. I guess that is doable now. Now that you know how to invoke models and prompts. But the main thing here worth learning was this getting format instructions using this parser, where parser is linked to a pydantic object. And yeah, it's not a string output parser. This is another parser that we saw. We can actually refer to LangChain JSON parser, so that we know like where are we on the learning side of it. So they have these output parsers, and they have like different types of output parsers here. So if you see, JSON parser is one of the types that we saw. where you can go through this documentation as well, where they define like how to define class, and then how to get the like the JSON output parser, and then how to get the format instructions. Similarly, they have different parsers for different formats, and not just JSON, right? So if you want a comma separated list as an output, even there you can get format instructions, and like delimiter parser is there are these different parsers here. So for enum there is a different parser, XML there is a different parser, so you can go through these different parsers. Functions and tools is a separate thing, like let's discuss when we reach agents. But yeah, like basically if you want output in a specific format, let's say you want output in XML, you can use this XML parser, and you need not define the output instructions. It can generate the output instructions for you, which you can plug into your prompt, and yeah, they'll start giving XML or any format that you want. So that's about it. I'm not completely finishing this using LangChain, but you get the idea. Like you can just run the loop and get the response now. I don't want to waste the time discussing the same thing again and again. Okay, I'm sorry. There's one small point I missed completely. The fact that we are using this parser means that when we invoke this parser and we get the response, this is actually a JSON. It's not a string. So we can basically use like sentiment key into, and we can get the value as well. Unlike this string parser that we used earlier. So here in the case of string parser, let's run this again. So this is the prompt, and then when we parse this and when we print this, this is actually a string. It's not a JSON. So we can't do anything like sentiment. This will give an error saying string does not have string index must be integer. So like it's trying to index into the string. It's not a JSON. So this is the point about parsers. Like here the parser was string output parser here, and that's why we get a string response. Here in the case of JSON output parser, it tries to actually parse that string, convert it to JSON, and then we get the response. So similarly for XML, when I say like you get the format instructions and you send the instructions here for XML, and then when you run this parser, when you finally invoke the parser, you will get something like this. You won't get the actual XML, but the output will be a data structure which is parsable. Like you can key into those data structures, and it has exactly what data structure attributes there are for that particular data structure. Yeah, so this is just one small point I wanted to clarify. Thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing if you're liking these videos as well. This is like an ongoing playlist where we will learn a lot of things. Thank you.